defending MVC tournament champion Creighton Blue Jays host first-year head coach Tim Jankovich and the Illinois State University Redbirds. Alongside Mac McCausland, I'm Jeff Friedman, and the Missouri Valley Conference starts today, but both coaches told us they don't know how to evaluate the state of the conference right now, Mac.
And they shouldn't, Jeff. It's an exciting time for the Valley. Last year, a terrific year. Over 30 seniors and starters gone. 5 new coaches in the league. New game preps, new style of play, new offenses, new defenses. It is going to be a mindset now for all these coaches. Get their team ready. They all want to go one place, and that's to an NCAA tournament in March.
And to get there, one of Creighton's strengths so far has been their bench scoring. And head coach Dana Altman told us he's going to continue to play 10 to 12 players as the conference schedule continues.
Well, it's crazy. When you look at what Creighton is doing, using double-digit players, but the funny part is they have more points coming out of their bench than they do the starters. That's an oddity you don't see very often. A lot of pressure, a lot of players. It's a new look for Creighton.
Creighton tries to remain Welcome back inside the Quest Center, Omaha, Nebraska. Alongside Mac McCausland, I'm Jeff Friedman as State Farm presents the MVC Game of the Week. And here are tonight's starting lineups. A presentation of Bud Light. Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming. And in the starting lineup for the Redbirds, we see Boo Richardson, who led the team with 16 points, 6 assists at Ball State. Dane Watts, the only returning starter for the Blue Jays, leads his team in scoring and rebounding. Head coach Jim Jankovich of Illinois State became the 18th head coach in ISU history on March 20th, and prior to joining Illinois State, 5 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, 2 trips to the Elite Eight as an assistant. And Dana Altman, Creighton's all-time winningest coach, has led Creighton to 7 NCAA tournaments. His teams have played in the postseason during each of the last 10 seasons. Here's our series history brought to you by Sirius Satellite Radio, the best radio on radio. Visit Sirius.com. Creighton winning 12 of the last 15 meetings, including 8 of the last 9 here in Omaha. We get ready for tip-off, Mac. Our keys to the game.
When you look at the Redbirds, they need to rebound as Creighton has just out-pounded their people. 7 rebounds a game on poise. When you go on the road, the Redbirds with a new coach, new staff, you got to have poise. Richardson will be a key. The Blue Jays, they got to get back. The Redbirds like to push it. They need to get back, and they have to defend ball screens. Illinois State likes to use a 2-man game. That's hard to guard with the effective athletes they have. Creighton has to pay attention to the ball screen.
We're ready for tip-off, and the Redbirds with the basketball are officials tonight. David Hall, J.D. Collins, and Randy Heimerman as the 101st season of Missouri Valley Conference basketball underway today. Dom Johnson for the Redbirds takes it up top inside Dinma Odiokoso. Now Johnson, foul line, jumper off the front of the rim, rebound Anthony Slack, and we've got a whistle on the play.
What you got to watch with Creighton is the multiple defenses. They will do man, they will do zone, and they will show what looks like a man and back down into zone. Multiple defenses made famous by Dana Altman.
I know Tim Jankovich told us that Creighton has been consistent, but Dana Altman tweaks things a lot. Boo Richardson hits the jumper from the foul line and leaves off right where he left off at Ball State, leading the team in scoring.
About at the key of the game is getting back by the Creighton Blue Jays. When you get back, you still have to guard the ball. The basketball is the most important thing. It can score. Stop the ball.
Doetzler, now Millard, left wing, tries to get it inside to Hipma, and it's a turnover for the Blue Jays as Anthony Slack picks it up. Redbirds down the floor. Osias Eldridge with the ball for the first time, and it's knocked out of bounds by Josh Doetzler.
I really like Osiris. He's a very effective scorer, and in this building, 28 points last year. So he doesn't mind coming in and see all that blue in the background.
And when we asked him about that, he said it's probably just a coincidence. He doesn't know how he did that well against Creighton. But the statistics show that he did succeed. They split the series last year, these two teams, each winning on their home floor. And the bucket inside by Dinma Odiokoso, the 6'8", 240-pound sophomore forward. Back after redshirting for a season.
we talk about ball screens, and you see this is called a slip of the screen. All of a sudden now Boo will come across, the man just rolls right to the basket, slipped down there. The big man came on the little man, made it an easy pass for an alley-oop finish.
Creighton 3 possessions thus far and 3 turnovers so far tonight.
And that, Jeff, is out of the veteran group. The concern can be some of the players that are not as veteran, the red shirts and the freshmen that Creighton does have. And it's got to be concerned for Dana Altman right now.
Anthony Slack inside finds Odiakoso, who hooks up the bucket, giving the Redbirds a 6-0 lead.
Jankovic up, really encouraging his players to get back on defense. They're going to pack it into the lane until they see the Blue Jays make some threes.
Nick Baugh up top to Millard. Inside Dane Watts, double team, puts up the hook shot, rolls in.
Good play by Watts. See full court pressure, and that's critical for Creighton to score, because you can't set up pressure unless you can score.
Pressure by Creighton again. There's now Dom Johnson setting the offense for the Redbirds, the senior guard from Bell City, Missouri. Finds Boo Richardson. Now Odiakoso once again double teamed to Slack at the foul line. Kicks it out to Eldridge, left wing. And Dom Johnson hitting the shot.
Well, Illinois State is definitely showing that they are not afraid to come on the road in front of 17,000 people and put on an offensive show early on. Terrific confidence by the Redbirds, and that's what Coach Jankovic has done, is add confidence to this group.
Millard missing the 3. Redbird basketball once again. Eldridge among the Creighton defenders. Odiakoso with the tip in. The foul is called.
Whoa. They call over the back.
Coming up at halftime, the Cardinal Glennon halftime report, brought to you by Cardinal Glennon Children's Medical Center, where our love for kids keeps on growing.
Even the foul over the back. I would say at this point, the Redbirds have to be happy with that aggressive foul, because the concern they had about being out-rebounded and almost had the tap back for an easy 2. There was nobody there to block out the aggressive play.
That first personal called on Dinma Odiakoso. Nick Baugh, 3 off the rim. Anthony Slack with the rebound. Whistle is down on the floor as Osias Eldridge, and he's holding his right knee.
Down on his ankle. It looked like he maybe rolled the ankle as he came down. Collision of 3 or 4 players underneath the basket. And we look maybe at our left side of the screen and see if we can see what happens in terms of a block out inside, a good hold, and you can see down in the corner just a couple players running into each other. Stinnett was there, and more than likely when you see that sort of thing, it's you came down on another player's foot and rolled it over. We hope it's just a tweak at this point. Eldridge will have it looked at, maybe retaped.
Trainer John Munn taking a look at it. And when the Redbirds played Indiana this year, same thing happened. Eldridge in the second half tweaked his ankle, got it taped up, came back and played. We'll see if he can do the same here tonight.
Creighton already getting ready with their substitute. 2 new players in the game, Harriman and Stinnett. And for you at home, if you don't have a scorecard, you're in trouble tonight, because it's hard to keep up with the number of Blue Jay players in this game.
Almost everyone on the Creighton roster will probably see some playing time tonight, as Emmanuel Holloway is checked in for the Redbirds. Finds Levi Dyer, shot from the foul line, and drains it.
He is a 6'11" 2 guard for all practical purposes. A standstill shooter, a jump shooter. Very seldom will be taking it to the basket.
Head coach Dana Altman for the Blue Jays in practice yesterday stressed his players that Dyer and Eldridge, the 2 players to stop for the Redbirds today, as Watts goes for the rebound along with Dyer. Ball's knocked out of bounds.
And Dana Altman loves to try and score off his inbounds, out of bounds plays. We'll see after this timeout.
An 11-2 lead over Creighton. Tonight's Prairie Farms MVC Scholar Athlete of the Game is Creighton's Pierce Hibma, a senior guard from Pella, Iowa. Hibma was a 2007 second-team MVC Scholar Athlete selection, a Dean's List student athlete. Hibma, who has a 3.627 cumulative grade point average in theology, averages 4.3 points, 1.3 rebounds per game this season. He started all 10 games. The Prairie Farms family of dairies, Prairie Farms, Highland, and Roberts Dairies, serving dairy fresh food products throughout mid-America.
And Watts on that inbounds pass, little isolation for him, and he took it right at Dyer. And we talked about Dyer being a terrific offensive player. It's the defensive end of the court he needs to continue to work on. That time trying to defend Watts, got a foul.
First personal on Dyer as Watts goes to the line. And we saw Eldridge tweak his ankle earlier in this game. Watts tweaked his ankle on Wednesday in practice, and he actually missed Creighton's practice on Thursday as a precautionary measure so he'd be ready for this game. But he's gone through the treatments that players go through, whirlpool treatments, and he's ready for the game tonight.
And Watts is the player that Creighton just cannot afford to not have in the game. And just a little, we said there's a lot of new players in the league. Mr. Stinnett meeting Mr. Slack, just saying hi, how are you?
Tim Jankovic, a new coach in the league, one of 5 new head coaches in the Valley.
But he's not new to college basketball. Been a terrific assistant coach. Played under and worked under some terrific people. Jack Hartman, he played at Kansas State. What a legend he is.
And the Creighton Blue Jays pressure a little bit too much for the Redbirds, but it goes out of bounds as Booker Woodfox tries to save it. Blue Jays basketball, they say it's off of Boo Richardson.
And Creighton's pressure, and with so many different players, that means the pressure can have a lot of looks. It can have quickness, it can have height. And as they learn the system, sometimes they trap where they shouldn't. A lot of times you don't like to trap in the middle of the court. That time the trap got the turnover.
Josh Doetzler up top to Booker Woodfox, drives in the lane, kicks it outside to Harriman. Now Doetzler runs the Blue Jay offense with 10 on the shot clock. Double teamed, out to Harriman, up top to Woodfox, shot clock down to 6. Watts kicks it outside to Stinnett, and Pialin Stinnett hits the bucket. Pialin Stinnett cuts the Redbirds' lead to 5 in what was an 11-2 game, now an 11-6 game.
Redbirds doing a good job of getting the ball in bounds, driving. Now this is where a team has to learn to win on the road. It's early in the game, but you got to stop the momentum of Creighton and the run that they've got going.
Anthony Slack, a turnover for the Redbirds. Josh Doetzler picks it up, fast break to Stinnett. He almost loses the basketball in the corner.
The ball reversal again by the Blue Jays. They are able to get it up, and Doetzler does a tremendous job of understanding tempo. He's the veteran. He'll see if he can get something that really makes him feel good. Look for a handoff.
There you go, Harriman. Shot clock again down to 10. Watts triple team, kicks it outside. Booker Woodfox misses the shot. Watts is there, but the rebound by Levi Dyer. Boo Richardson, long jumper, almost tipped in by Slack. And it's going to be a turnover.
Terrific job by Slack to get down court and take away space as he's able to get underneath the basket and position himself either for the lob or for the tip-in.
Closed captioning for tonight's telecast is made possible by Emerson. To learn more, visit emerson.com. Emerson, consider it solved.
But Slack with a good job of being able to grab that ball. And, they don't give you the jump out of bounds timeout anymore. He still had his feet in bounds, although he was a little tippy-toe. And he used up the timeout, which you're going to have to use one in the first half anyway, Jeff. So you didn't really waste it by any manner. We asked Coach Tim today, he said, how do you like to use timeouts? He goes, I like to save them. And then at the end of the game, I got 3 left. I'm mad I didn't use them. So he says it just kind of depends on the flow of the game.
Yeah, you can never get them back. In a game where you don't know how your team's going to perform, having such a young team, first game in conference play.
A zone this time by Creighton.
And Levi Dyer hits the long two, 13-6 Redbirds. Stinnett passes inside. This time, Kenny Lawson Jr. has checked in. And Syed Adzik has checked in for the first time for the Redbirds. You'll see him number 25. He's been practicing with the team for a year and a half after transferring from USC. In the corner, Dyer for three, drains it.
You cannot let Dyer have a look at the basket like that. Like I say, he's 6'11", so you think you ought to be a post player. He is one of the best shooters in the Valley and one of the best returning offensive players.
Came into this game shooting just under 47% from three-point range, and he just hit his 30th tray of the season as the first personals called on Boo Richardson.
When we talk about the Valley, what's going on, new faces, Tim Yankovic just bringing in some terrific offensive ideas with this talented group of Redbirds. And of course, all kinds of new faces for the Blue Jays. So these two birds are brand new.
Cavell Witter, one of the brand new birds. The Biel and Stinnett for three. Miller tips it. Ball recovered by Hibma. And let's see if the Blue Jays can get it as it rolls out of bounds. This is Redbird basketball.
Illinois State basketball.
We talk about the new start of the Valley today. UNI 59, Bradley 46. Bit of an upset, except for the fact Bradley is without David Ruffin, the all-conference point guard, and he may be out for an extended period of time with a hernia operation.
Osiris Eldridge is checked back in after tweaking that ankle early in the half. Syed Adzik handling the basketball on his first ever action for the Redbirds.
And Jeff, it is Daniel Ruffin. All the announcers have to get into the flow too.
Here comes Stinnett. Did you see him float to the hoop?
Stinnett is a special offensive player. From Las Vegas originally, Brewster Academy, recruited by a number of Division I teams, including Iowa State.
Stinnett originally committed to Iowa State. The shot by Dyer, no good. Rebound by Cavell Witter. And then after Iowa State let Wayne Morgan go, he asked for his release. He got it and came here and signed with the Redbirds. A 6-point lead for Illinois State here at the Quest Center in Omaha.
Period of time, I would consider Daniel Ruffin maybe the most valuable player to his team of any single player in the conference, with his experience, his speed, style of play, and Coach Les scratching his slightly gray hair, trying to figure out a replacement there.
Redbirds and Blue Jays, a 6-point lead for Illinois State. Just about halfway through the first half. Syed Adzik
travels right in front of the Creighton bench and gets no call. Coach Altman reminding the official that, you know, when you slide 2 feet, it's a travel.
Alex Rubin, the backup freshman point guard to Boo Richardson, into the game for the Redbirds. They get the ball inside to Dyer, and the block by Dane Watts.
Watts is just a totally different player in terms of he's accepted the lead role as a team leader, inside player. Last year he would have been considered maybe the 4th option offensively, and hardly a number was called for him. This year he's the lead guy.
The 8th block of the season for Dane Watts. Tom Johnson now to Adzik. Shot clock violation for the Redbirds. It's going to be a turnover, the 4th for Illinois State.
And a change-up defense again coming out. Illinois State trying to decide if it was a man or a zone or a combination. Dean Altman right there, as we said, is the master of the change-ups today. You look around the country, not very many coaches will play 5 or 6 defenses, and maybe even more than that when they go to their extended pressure. He'll use a triangle and 2 with diamond and 1, box and 1.
Here comes Doaksler to the hoop. Creighton now within 4, the closest this game has been since it was 11-2 Redbirds. Syed Adzik will inbound.
I think what you got to do is let Boo have the ball as long as he can and not pass it to other people. Other people seem to be unsure of their ball handling.
Down low, Dinma Odiakoso hits the bucket inside.
Isn't that a great name to say? It just rolls right off. Odiakoso.
Odiokoso with 6 points tonight. Second in scoring for the Redbirds, 7 for Levi Dyer. Redbirds back to a 6-point advantage. Kane Watts hands off to Doetzler. Richardson in his face. Chad Millard with the tape on his left wrist. Shot clock down to 8. Doetzler guarded by Richardson. Dribbles foul line, puts up the jumper off the front of the rim, and Boo Richardson, the shortest player on the court, there for the board at 5'8".
Doetzler, not normally a late shot clock guy to drive and score. He tries to drive and set up others, but a good finish at the other. And again, Illinois State really pushing the ball, trying to take advantage of Creighton being out of defensive position.
First personal on Pierce Himma, the first foul on the Creighton Blue Jays as we take a look.
We'll see the fight for space down low. Odiokoso won that battle right along the baseline. When he sealed Watts up high, he could just turn, put it off the glass.
Diener Odiokoso from Nigeria, redshirted last season, leads the team with 6.3 rebounds a game coming into this one. Interestingly enough, this is only his 4th season of organized basketball, and he's starting here in the Valley, Mac.
That tells you what a terrific athlete he is in terms of hand-eye coordination and also his ability to learn. His feet are just so quick on the inside, defending Watts. He really works hard to get around him. That time he gets the foul.
So Diener Odiokoso getting called for his second personal. As checking into the game for Illinois State, Brandon Sampe for the first time, replacing Odiokoso.
Well, the 2 fouls. You know, a lot of coaches say if you get 2 fouls the first half, you sit. I don't know if you can afford to sit him the entire first half now with 9 minutes still to go.
Josh Doetzler for the Blue Jays. They now back to a 9-point deficit. They got as close as 4. Dean Watts out to Doetzler. Long 2, no good. Ball tipped away. Picked up by Bob. Turnaround jumper. Doesn't roll in, no. Watts with a 4th chance for the Blue Jays.
That's an effort play by a lot of people, and none of them got above the rim. It was all work below the rim. Terrific work now. You watch the ball go up, Ba gets it up there, and you get 2 to 3 people inside trying to score. Watts comes up with it with a clean grab and a finish. And of course, that guy cannot be happy because he said, the thing we have to do tonight is rebound. Right there's an opportunity with 3 red jerseys in there. Nobody could get a hold of it.
So far, Illinois State is out-rebounded Creighton 8-5 this evening, but Creighton getting the better end of that last play. Anthony Slack dribbles in the paint, inside, and Brandon Sampe hits the bucket. And one of the referees falling down on the court on that play.
Recovered quickly. Popped up like a piece of toast. Hope he's all right. A terrific job of breaking the press, getting the ball to midcourt, and then the bounce pass, the ability to deliver. Slack, a big man, with the assist. But he started by beating the initial double team up front, getting the ball to midcourt. And that's what Dana will be talking about right now. You cannot let the ball beat you down the sideline. You have to retreat. You have to stop the ball. We said it early on in the broadcast. The ball can score. You have to stop the basketball, then retreat to shooters. If you don't stop the ball, they're going to have a way with you at the offensive end.
Jeff Friedman, Mac McCausland here with you at the Quest Center in Omaha, Nebraska, as the Missouri Valley Conference schedule kicks off today on our MVC Game of the Week presented by State Farm. And one of the officials, David Hall, looks to be okay after falling down on that last play under the basket, Mac.
Wincing a little bit there, but again, a professional getting back up. He's going to test that knee and see if he can go with it. It looks like it's still bothering him a bit.
The Allen Stinnett has the ball stripped away, and Levi Dyer and Anthony Slack comes up with it.
We talk about Stinnett being such a terrific offensive player and athlete. The thing he has to learn to do is lower the degree of difficulty of things he tries to do. Oh, and that just cannot make the Blue Jay coaching staff very happy. Almost uncontested layup.
Emmanuel Holloway with that layup, and Holloway and Brandon Sampe, the only two Tim Jankovic recruits that are on this roster. And they both have gotten into the game and hitting a couple of baskets. As the Redbirds lead by 11, and knocked down by Holloway is Cavell Witter. An 11-point lead for the Illinois State University Redbirds. You're watching the MVC Game of the Week.
Starter. Maybe see if they can get Witter a shot opportunity. Whoa, inside operation. Not successful by Lawson.
That's going to be the first personal on Lawson.
And only the team second, Jeff. I mean, you're into the game almost 13 minutes. Just 2 team fouls with pressure. It means you may not be as aggressive as you'd like to in cutting off passing lanes and driving lanes off that pressure.
Dom Johnson for the Redbirds. Now Boo Richardson drives foul line. Kicks it out to Johnson, who almost loses it in front of the Creighton bench, but Stinnett falls down. And the shot is missed, and it goes out of bounds.
Out of bounds off of Creighton.
We should say Osiris back in the game. Eldridge.
Substitutions for the Blue Jays, number 12, Josh.
A quick recovery from that slightly rolled ankle. May swell up a little bit tonight or tomorrow, but you see him taking the ball out of bounds. Don't be surprised if he gets it back to maybe get a chance to look for a shot.
And speaking of Eldridge, he had second thoughts when Tim Jankovic was named head coach of this Redbirds team of whether he would stay here. And Tim Jankovic sat him down and the whole team down, and he said to Osiris Eldridge, give me a chance for us to get to know each other.
Right now Creighton goes to that zone on the out-of-bounds play, and see again, Illinois State likes the man-to-man. They're ready to run their plays against it. A good change-up.
Anthony Slack misses the shot. Millard, now Doetzler. Outside to Hibma, guarded by Eldridge. Doetzler finds the senior Dane Watts. Dribbles in the corner, shot clock down to 10. Shot clock at 7. Watts, double team, loses the basketball. Here comes Boo Richardson. Richardson to the hoop. The layup good for the Redbirds.
Boo may be as quick as anybody in the conference, getting one end to the other with the ball. Terrific defense by Illinois State. You talk about a difference between last year and this year. This group has done an excellent job of team defense. And again, the battle inside. If there's one thing we've seen consistent tonight, it is both sides trying to establish as low a presence as possible offensively. And there's some bumping going on.
As the first personal is called on Brandon Sampe, and Tim Jankovic there after 24 seasons as a Division I assistant coach decides to come here to Illinois State, take the head coaching position. You mentioned some of the greats he's coached under.
Yeah, well, you know, it's been Eddie Sutton and Boyd Grant, and most recently at Kansas with Bill Self. And he said he took a little bit from all of them and, you know, tried to put the good things that he liked and believed in. And when we asked him about Creighton, you know, scouting coach, when I was at Kansas State, we played Johnny Orr, and Johnny Orr ran a lot of that high 2-3 set that Dana Altman does. So he said, I'm prepared for that because I had to play against it and had to prepare a scouting report for it.
Jankovic also told us he had made up his mind he wasn't going to leave Kansas. Didn't want to make the mistake of going to a head coaching position unless it was the best one, as Boo Richardson, 2 in a row now.
Again, when you pressure, you have to understand somebody has to guard the rim. And everybody got caught up. And Boo may be quick, but he shouldn't be able to outrun a defender that should be back at the rim.
Boo Richardson averaging 5.4 points per game this season. As the foul is called.
Right there, I'm going to tell you, that's a scouting report charge. And by that I mean, at the shoot-around today, the Redbirds went over that exact play several times with their players watching it. And the anticipation and the quick feet of Richardson took the charge.
6 points for Richardson so far, has already eclipsed his season average.
You got Dochford guarding a 6'7", 6'8" player inside.
Dyer off the rim, and the rebound by Booker Woodfox of the Blue Jays. Inside to Dane Watts.
Dane Watts could take Dyer.
A one-handed pass to Woodfox. Now Woodfox double team back outside to Watts for three. Rims out, rebound by the shortest player once again, Boo Richardson. Dyer for a triple off the back of the rim. Redbirds take care of the basketball on the offensive board.
When you take a deep three, you'll get deep rebounds. So it goes over the usual defenders on the inside back to the offensive team.
Dyer, a wide open three, drains it.
When you set a pick and roll on the far side, Dyer just disappears in the corner. So as the drive is taken, watch the drive. All the white jerseys have to see it. You see all 5 white jerseys in the picture, and you leave Dyer wide open. He read the label, memorized the pattern. He had that much time to get that shot off. Nobody over there.
Levi Dyer leads all scorers in this game with 10 points, 2 for 4 from three-point land. As we take a look at the three-point field goal shooting, the Blue Jays 1 for 8 from long range, the Redbirds 3 for 6. You saw Dane Watts miss that three on the other end, Mac. He's got a different role on the team this year. With the departure of Anthony Tolliver, he's more of an inside player for the Blue Jays.
But he still has that skill to go outside, and they're not afraid to use it. In fact, that makes him multi-dimensional, which makes it a tough matchup for other teams. But you have to come down to the other end of the court, and it was Watts that looked like he was the one that left Dyer. Dyer is a terrific shooter, and he becomes a great shooter when he's open, standing still.
Allen Stinnett dishes down low to Watts, and there's the inside play of Dane Watts.
Again, Creighton hasn't been able to really set up the pressure because they haven't scored.
Osiris Eldridge tries to dish down low to Slack, and the Redbirds come back up with it for another three and nails it this time over the hand of Dane Watts.
If you're an NBA team and you just want a standstill shooter at 6'11", this guy could get a job, boy. Woo.
Witter. Drives in the paint. Dishes outside. This time Harriman misses the three. Back inside, and the foul is called.
Great hustle play by Harriman.
A 35-18 lead for the Illinois State University Redbirds as Boo.
1 point, 20-19.
And to the line for the Blue Jays, Casey Harriman. Still no points tonight. 0 for 2 from the field.
Jeff, when you look back at the MVC standings, you look over the last 3 or 4 years, what a terrific conference the Valley has been. Multiple invitees and well represented, getting teams to the Sweet 16 on 3 different occasions.
Fans getting into it here at the Quest Center as their team is down 35-19. Boo Richardson across the timeline as Dana Altman yells out instructions to his players.
It's a much more aggressive man-to-man looking to trap.
Levi Dyer once again, this time over the hand of Chad Miller.
I will tell you now, Creighton has played some good defense on him the last 2 shots, and he's still making them. You know, you just got to keep the ball from him now, but he hides so well in the corner. And when you watch great shooters, they tend to do that because you cannot leave your man from there to help in the lane when somebody drives, and if you do, you're giving a driver a layup. So it's a tough situation when the great shooter's scoring.
Allen Stinnett, the jumper rolls in.
And he's really been the only offense that's consistent tonight so far for the Blue Jays.
19-point lead for the Redbirds, their largest of the night. Anthony Slack up the floor. Foul is going to be called as Johnson and Stinnett get into it.
Yeah, Stinnett's kind of been involved in meeting other people throughout the night.
The freshman guard from Las Vegas, and that's going to be the second personal on Boo Richardson as he talks things over with Sied Odzik, and Dana Altman has some words for Pialin Stinnett on the sidelines.
Well, again, you have to control yourself. We talked about poise. We said it in reference to Illinois State, but also when you're a freshman at home in front of 17,000, you got to play with poise as well. Keep your eye on the prize, focus on the game. What was the game plan? How can you get your team back in the game?
Stinnett for three. Talk about a way to get your team back.
Turn him loose.
Pialin Stinnett trying to rile up the crowd here at the Quest Center. He's got 10 points, leading the Blue Jays in scoring tonight. Now the crowd's on their feet. Full court pressure defense by Creighton. Here comes Dom Johnson to the foul line, kicks it out to Holloway along three. No good. Rebound, Anthony Slack. Sied Odzik, new shot clock for the Redbirds. Inside Slack. And Slack slams it in, but there's going to be a whistle on the play.
It'll be interesting to see if they count the basket. Slam the ball down, hung on the rim, and the ball popped out. I mean, you've got some options. Did it count? Did it not count? Is it a technical? We'll see. They're going to call it a foul on the shot. What a terrific job, though, by Slack getting position inside. He has done it time and time again. Creighton has not fought him off on that low post position.
As Anthony Slack hits the free throw, well, he decided to transfer here to Illinois State from Coffeyville Community College, where he was a teammate of Boo Richardson.
I'll tell you, a lot of schools were interested in him. Butler being another school that he looked at. And you can see his athleticism can be extremely valuable to this Redbird team.
And Tim Jankovic told us he just loves coaching him. One of the things he needs to improve on is committing less fouls, as Anthony Slack is fouled out of 3 games this season. He had 4 fouls against Ball State, fouled out the previous 3 games. 16-point lead for the Redbirds. 1:45 to play until halftime. Doetzler to Stinnett. Dyer tries to block him out. Stinnett, a 3. He hardly kept his footing on that one, Matt.
Stinnett by himself is keeping Creighton close.
He has 5 of Creighton's 10 field goals tonight. 5 for 6 from the field. And the layup tipped in by Anthony Slack. 42-27. Illinois State University Redbirds, as we take a look at our shooting from long range. The Redbirds 5 for 9 from long range, and Levi Dyer with 4 of those 5 baskets from three-point land. Just under a minute to play. Doetzler to Ba. Now Pierce Hipma to Ba, inside to Watts at the left block, and thrown out of bounds. They're going to give it to the Redbirds. Pialin Stinnett does not think so. Trying to appeal to the officials. Our officiating crew tonight: David Hall, J.D. Collins, Randy Heimerman. It's going to be Redbird basketball. And Sied Odzik, as you see J.D. Collins there, is going to inbound for the Redbirds, playing his first game after transferring from USC. This is the first game he was eligible for due to the transfer. Sied Odzik, and there's going to be a foul called as he runs into Pialin Stinnett, his first personal. Here at the Quest Center, the opening day of Valley play. And Creighton, who has not lost this year in this building, against the Redbirds, who are going for back-to-back-to-back road wins for the first time in 25 seasons. Under new head coach Tim Jankovic. Sied Odzik Dribbles in the paint, goes up for the shot, and it's a turnover. Here come the Blue Jays. The layup by Pierce Hipma, the senior guard from Iowa. 11 seconds to go. 42-29, Redbirds. Redbird basketball, Anthony Slack. To Dom Johnson. And time expires at the half. The score, 42-29, Illinois State University Redbirds. As Tim Jankovic heads off the court, it's time to check in with Mac McCausland and head coach Dana Altman for tonight's Mercy Health Plans for the second half. Mac?
Coach, rough start at the beginning, but the last 5 minutes your pressure is really starting to get the fans back
we're
involved.
stuck in the mud. I don't know. They got whatever they wanted. Really disappointed. Guys didn't fly around. A lot of turnovers to start the game. Just really stands for up and down. We got a long way to go in the game, and it's going to be a tough second half for us.
Go get those kids ready in the second half. Thanks, Coach.
Our chat with the coaches is brought to you by Mercy Health Plans, an innovative health management company empowering members to make healthy choices. The way we care makes all the difference. Here at halftime, 42-29, Illinois State University Redbirds in the Missouri Valley Conference opening day. We'll be back with more of halftime on the MVC Game of the Week, presented by State Center, where our love for kids keeps on growing. 42-29, Illinois State here at halftime. I'm Jeff Friedman alongside Mac McCausland, and this Illinois State team under first-year head coach Tim Jankovic getting a big lead on Creighton here at the half. Tim Jankovic has brought new energy to this club.
I mean, you look at what we talked to him about today. He was fearful of everything, fearful of the press, fearful how his players would respond, fearful about rebounding. Just throw it all out the window. It's domination by the Redbirds right now. It is a new bird in the Valley for 20 minutes.
It definitely is, and Tim Jankovic told us when he saw Creighton play, he saw they were having fun. He didn't want them to have fun tonight. And tonight, as you talk to head coach Dana Altman, they're not having that much fun. He said they're stuck in the mud.
I thought that was a great comment that he made, and that's about as nice a thing as you can say. His players just did not react. We talked about how many open shots Dyer had, how many open shots the whole team had. They were not responding to ball movement, not anticipating, and maybe it was a reverse situation of poise and pressure.
Plan showcases the 2002 State Farm MVC Tournament semifinal matchup between Creighton and Illinois State. The Blue Jays, who split their previous two semifinal tilts with ISU, hit 13 three-pointers, including 4 by Kyle Korver and 3 by Terrell Taylor. The Jays shot 58.3% from the field as Creighton defeated the Redbirds 90-63. And as our Cardinal Glennon halftime report continues, let's take a look at our halftime stats, a production of National City. Points from National City, the best banking rewards program around, where you earn rewards points for doing the things you already do every day. Visit your local National City branch today for details, Mac.
Well, you look at the Redbird category, they just absolutely dominated a half. I don't remember a half for a long time that every category went the Redbird way. And the statistic not shown is 56% from threes, and they haven't missed a free throw, 100% there. Yeah, on the Blue Jay side, the best thing they had was the last 4 minutes, the pressure. They got some excitement, they got some baskets.
Levi Dyer leads the Redbirds with 16 points, 6 for 10 from the field, 4 for 6 from long range as our Cardinal Glennon halftime report continues. Redbirds in the lead. Conference kicks off. Dana Altman and Tim Jankovic squaring off against each other. And it's now time to check in with Mac McCausland and head coach Tim Jankovic for tonight's Mercy Health Plans for the second half. Mac?
Coach, earlier today you told us you were concerned about team poise, team rebounding. First half, terrific job by your players.
Yeah, our poise was outstanding, and Creighton plays so hard, and they press, and they pressure, and we just had to be ready for that. But great first half, but truth be told, the game just started, okay? The game's just starting right now. First half was a warm-up, and the game starts now.
What could you tell them at halftime?
But the game just started. We better get ready for a heavyweight fight.
Very good. Thanks. Good luck.
Our chat with the coaches is brought to you by Mercy Health Plans, an innovative health management company empowering members to make healthy choices. The way we care makes all the difference. Second half action underway, Mac. 42-29, Illinois State here in Omaha at the Quest Center. Jeff Friedman, Mac McCausland here with you on our MVC Game of the Week presented by State Farm, and Chad Millard hits it from long range.
It's the first 5 minutes through the first timeout period that will set a tone for how this game is going to be played the rest of the way. Illinois State played about as good as a team can play, especially on the road. Creighton has to be a bit embarrassed with what happened. You saw, here's the pressure. That's what they got out of the last 4 minutes. They got to be patient, though, once they get the turnover, and now make the offensive set really work.
The Redbirds lead now down to 11 after Chad Millard hits the first shot of the half. It's his first basket of the game and from three-point land. And 3 points for Millard on the board. Millard inside to Watts. Double teamed. And he's called for traveling.
When you're really trying to establish some momentum, keep the crowd in the game, you don't like to have that turnover occur, but it's been the pressure that's been the offensive key for Creighton to get some turnovers and easy looks.
10 turnovers for Creighton tonight.
Here's the guy they got to really contain, that's Boo Richardson, Jeff. Boo's been able to break the press by himself.
Boo told us his job is to do whatever this coaching staff tells him to help the team win. Whether it's scoring, being the floor leader as the ball's knocked out of bounds. And Tim Jankovic, although when he watched him on film from last year, he told us he was a little bit scared, made a lot of mistakes. But he said he's been a pleasure to coach. One of the most concentrated and on-the-ball guys he's ever been around.
See, there's a different starting lineup with Stinnett in there. You've also got Millard, who Watts now hits, but Stinnett earned that starting position in the second half.
The Allen Stinnett led all scorers on Creighton with 13 points in the first half. As Dinma Odiakoso down low finds Boo Richardson. Richardson drives baseline, kicks it outside to Osias Eldridge, who scores his first points of the night here in the second half, Matt.
A terrific job of driving baseline. A lot of teams are starting to use the play. They drive the baseline. Oh, charge there by Millard. I was going to finish it. Teams drive to the baseline not to get to the rim, but they draw the defense, and they actually almost jump out of bounds and go to the far corner where defensive players are left to guard the rim.
Talk about Illinois State having that big halftime lead when their leading scorer, Osias Eldridge, who averages 15.9 points a game coming into this one, didn't have a point in the first half.
Well, it really shows where this team has gone. They really believe in the we, not me theory.
And speaking about the we theory, it was Anthony Slack in the first half with 4 of the Redbirds' 12 assists. 12 assists on 17 field goals for Illinois State in the first half.
And for a big to get that is terrific.
Knocked out of bounds off of Creighton. It'll be Redbird basketball. And Slack also had 5 rebounds to lead his team in rebounding in the first half. And those 4 assists I mentioned, a career high for Anthony Slack, the senior forward from New Orleans. In his second season after transferring from Coffeyville Community College, as we mentioned, where he was a teammate of Boo Richardson.
And Creighton on the out-of-bounds play went zone. Now they look like they'll go back to man-to-man. Creighton's going to have to be concerned about the high-low game. Illinois State have gotten some good looks there. Whoop, here we go, home run.
Picked off by Watts. Here comes Stinnett, slams it home, and the crowd comes alive here at West Center.
Is he a special athlete?
The Allen Stinnett, 11 points against Ball State, 15 tonight. 11 points against Arkansas Little Rock and 15 tonight. 26 points in his last 2 games.
The breakaway, Stinnett, to do it, finish it, all at that end. Terrific high flyer that understands when you get up there, put it down. Oh, what an energy player he is. Just first-year player for Coach Dana Altman. He's going to be terrific in the Valley and for the Blue Jays.
Johnson, foul line, jumper. No good. Dane Watts, big defensive rebound.
Johnson, not a great shooter, got the open look. Hit it really deep.
3 of 11 great rebounds by Dane Watts, who goes for the long 2. Rims out Osiris Eldridge with the board. Here come the Redbirds. Eldridge, jumper inside. Rebound recovered by Slack, and the putback by Anthony Slack.
Again, inside position by Illinois State. Terrific work, and that's how you get that inside position as a big. And that's a little bit, if you ever watch Kansas on their fast break, Bill Self does a terrific job of getting his bigs down court faster and deeper than most people in the country. And of course, that's where Tim was last year at Kansas. He took that little part from the Bill Self area.
And Tim Jankovic told us that what he learned the most from Bill Self and Eddie Sutton, who he coached under at Oklahoma State, was that you can treat people very well, still get a lot out of them. He said those two coaches he would have loved to play for himself. Johnson kicks out to Boo Richardson. Tries to find Odiokoso, and Dane Watts knocks it toward the Illinois State bench.
Levi Dyer in for Illinois State, in for Creighton.
Talking about Eddie Sutton at age 71, back in coaching at the University of San Francisco. Going for that 800th win.
He's going to have to wait a while. Didn't do too well last night.
No, lost the game last night. Tim Jankovic told me he doesn't act 71. He's very happy for him, and they still keep in touch as Cavell Witter hits the bucket inside.
Boy, you talk about 2 halves of basketball. This half dominated by the Blue Jays, yet they're still down 9 points.
14-point lead, cut to 9 on the MVC Game of the Week, presented by State Farm.
The Missouri Valley Conference celebrates athletic.
Come back to the Quest Center. Jeff Friedman, Mac McCausland, 9-point lead for the Redbirds. Let's review scores from our other Missouri Valley Conference games today, brought to you by Casey's General Store, convenience stores, and a whole lot more.
Well, we talked about Northern Iowa going on the road, beating a team that does not have Daniel Ruffin. Indiana State, Evansville in a battle, and Drake over Wichita State. When you look at it, the 3 home teams either have lost or are behind. You know, another score that was important was earlier this year, the DePaul score right here in Omaha. 23-6 was the lead by DePaul in that game, and Creighton came back. Pretty soon you're going to have to call them the comeback kids of Creighton.
And the comeback kid in that game was Pialin Stinnett, who had 15 points during a 17-10 run as Creighton took the lead. As the foul is called on Dane Watts, his first personal. That's going to send Dinma Odiokoso to the foul line.
And Stinnett in that game did not score in the first half. It was everything in the second half.
And he decided in that game that because he didn't do well in the first half, he was going to change his shoes at halftime. And he's now continued that tradition in every game this season since the DePaul game. He wears a different pair of shoes in the second half.
I'll tell you, whatever it takes, coaches aren't going to argue. And players and coaches do get superstitious.
Boo Richardson drives inside, goes for the layup, no good. Rebound put back by Odiokoso, and there's going to be a foul called.
Illinois State has just been terrific on the backboard. Trailing in, and Creighton just mentally lapsing, not having lockout assignments taken care of. Odiokoso, as we said, though, may be the best athlete out on the court as far as run and jump. He's a heck of a good ball player besides.
He redshirted last season. In the 05-06 season, played in 18 games, started 9 of them. And in the summer of 05, competed for the Nigerian national team at the Under-21 World Championships in Argentina.
Missing the 2 free throws should not be news. The Redbird fans, he's a 46% free throw shooter.
Cavell Witter, 10-point game. Basket counts, and Cavell Witter draws the foul against the Redbirds.
Creativity, 9.6 on the scale. And the finish besides, going up, catching a bump, and the ball just teardropping in.
That's the third personal foul on Boo Richardson. No one else has 3 fouls in this game. As P. Allen Stinnett checks back in along with Josh Doetzler and Casey Harriman to join Dane Watts. There's Stinnett. We talked about him changing his shoes for the second half. The reason he did that was in honor of his high school coach, Phil Clark, who won the first state championship for his high school on that team in 2004. And then Coach Clark died of cancer at age 53, been a big inspiration to Stinnett's career. 7-point ball game after it was a 14-point lead at halftime by the Redbirds.
Dyer wants the ball because he's got Doetzler on him. That's 6'11", and it's 6'1".
Osiris Eldridge. Shot clock down to 11. Eldridge, the jumper from the foul line, and hits it.
That's a smooth, poised player. Not rattled by the crowd, not rattled by the mishandle of the ball. Now you look, this may be a little boxing one. The one on Stinnett.
Eldridge 2 for 3 from the field here in the second half, 5 points. Scored 0 in the first half. We saw him tweak that ankle early in the game, then come back in after our first official timeout. 32 Casey Harriman gets called for his first personal 6th team foul, and checking back in is going to be Chad Millard for Harriman, and Millard hit that big 3 to start off the second half for Creighton.
Johnson with that missed 3, and Johnson 1 for 3 from the arc. And he's literally just a 25% three-point shooter. It's one of those things you've got to kind of know your game, know your strength.
7-3 rebounding advantage here in the second half for the Redbirds. We got 20 rebounds on the night, 12 for Creighton. Only 1 team foul for Creighton, 6 for Illinois State. Dom Johnson, guarded by Millard. Now Doetzler. They switch up the defenders. Witter guarding Eldridge. Double team. Inside Odiakoso. Ball knocked away by 3 Creighton players. Goes out of bounds. It's going to be Redbirds basketball, Mac.
Terrific defense by Creighton. Shot clock goes down to 4. The home crowd said it went off the red jersey. A nice play, actually, by Eldridge there just to roll the ball in the lane.
The Allen Stinnett long bounce pass to Doetzler as Creighton moves across the timeline very quickly. Stinnett for a triple. No good off the back of the rim. Dom Johnson comes up with it. Johnson, one-handed pass inside. There's a whistle on the play.
Stinnett's shot may have been a little early in the shot clock. Just one pass and up. He can get that shot on a ball reversal.
Illinois State into the
So you can get it inside, get something easy. We'll get on the foul line.
Second personal on Chad Millard, sending Anthony Slack to the line. 6 points so far tonight for Slack as he misses the free throw.
Although he missed the free throw, I've really been impressed with Slack and Odiakosa's play on the inside.
Slack with 6 rebounds tonight to lead all his teammates. Career high 4 assists is Dom Johnson. He's called for his first personal.
And that's where Stinnett driving the ball, because he can always take that 3, but driving it, now he's put himself in position. He got a foul on one of the Illinois State players, and also, poor pass inside.
There's Levi Dyer back into the game. And Eldridge handles it for Tim Jankovich's Redbirds. 9-point lead, 50-41. Illinois State as Eldridge drives to the hoop, given 7 points in the second half.
He did a terrific job of a high post pick, really put the wings wide and let the point guard just go one-on-one basically with a little screen help if he wants it. And he really relies on the quickness more than the screen to get to the rim.
Now Creighton has outscored Illinois State 12-10 so far here in the second half. And 7 of those 10 points from the Redbirds from Osiris Eldridge.
And Dyer picked up foul number 2. A little bump to bump on the inside. Watts is really going to have to work hard, but his skill inside can get people in foul spots. He's got a nice duck under move, get the shot blocker maybe to go up. Or Dyer in that case, just a bumping.
And down on the court, away from the basketball. Foul called on Emmanuel Holloway. His 3rd personal 14 foul for the junior guard in his first season after transferring from Iowa Western Community College. Doetzler inbounds. Cavell Witter, foul line. Jumper over Holloway, knocked away, rebound, Holloway.
It's almost like Witter had a chance to go to the rim on the other side. He spun back into the defense.
Syed Odzik, his first game as a Redbird. After transferring from USC, Levi Dyer once again for Illinois State.
Oh my goodness. He is putting on a terrific game of horse right now. And the foul, a chance for a 4-point opportunity. You just got to keep him away from the ball, because tonight he is Redbird hot.
Levi Dyer is the only player on the Illinois State roster who's been with the team for 4 seasons due to transfers, new coaching staff. And Dyer with 19 points almost doubles his season average of 10.6 points per game. It's 5 for 7 from long range tonight, 7 for 11 from the field. He entered this game 2nd in the Valley in 3-point field goal percentage.
And that's pretty impressive, consider the number of threes that he takes. You look at about 2/3 of his shots are from the arc.
Levi Dyer. Welcome back to the MVC Game of the Week presented by State Farm. 56-41 Creighton, a 9-2 run in the last 4 minutes by the Redbirds. Tonight's State and MVC history is brought to you by Sheridan St. Louis City Center Hotel. It was December 29th, 1996 at Omaha Civic Auditorium. Illinois State limited Creighton to 28% shooting on their way to a 54-45 Redbird victory. When traveling to St. Louis, visit Sheridan.com/St. Louis to make your reservations at the Sheridan City Center Hotel, the official hotel of the Missouri Valley Conference.
And we'll be down there for the Missouri Valley Tournament.
3 no good by Millard. Rebound tipped out of bounds. It's going to be Creighton basketball.
It's getting closer and closer to a critical time for Dana Altman. You start looking at a 15-point lead in just a little over 11 minutes. So you're really looking at cutting a point a minute off here. You're trying to get it back down to 6 or 5 points. Just a 2-possession game when you get to the 5-minute mark.
The Allen Stinnett dishes outside to Doetzler for 3 off the right side of the rim. And there's going to be a foul called as Allen Stinnett knocked down under the basket. Osiris Eldridge with his 2nd personal.
You'd almost like that reversed. You'd like to have Doetzler drive and kick to Stinnett. So Stinnett, very aggressive, picking up the foul.
Here comes Stinnett, who leads the Blue Jays with 15 points tonight, 6 for 8 from the field, and ball's knocked away. It's picked up by Dom Johnson. Dyer inside to Anthony Slack, who's double teamed. No basket traveling call. It's going to be a turnover for the Redbirds, their 10th tonight.
What a job this guy has done, though. When you watch just the body language of the Redbirds, even as the run was made, They have great confidence. You look statistically, Redbirds are in the top 1, 2, or 3 in most categories. It is an attitude change taking place at Illinois State.
And Boo Richardson told us that with the new coaching staff, it's like a big brother system. They let the team have their freedom and encourage them to improve every day. Anthony Slack told us it's a lot more of a cohesive team than it was last season. As Nick Baugh hits it from long range and gets on the board for the first time tonight.
Nick Baugh needs to do that 1 or 2 more times.
Fifth-year senior guard and 5th in the Missouri Valley Conference this year, and 3-point field goal percentage entering this one. Anthony Slack, the layup inside.
Or just a terrific effort again by Slack and the bigs for the Redbirds to get down court so quickly and so deep, giving him an outlet, not just an outlet to get rid of the pass, an outlet to score.
Dom Johnson, so far in this game, 5 assists, and he gets called for his second personal foul.
Substitutions on the floor. In for Illinois State, number 5, Boo Richardson. In for Creighton.
Josh Doetzler will shoot the 1-and-1 as Chad Miller checks out.
Number 50, Dane Watts.
Booker Woodfox checking in.
Josh Doetzler at the line for the Blue Jays, shooting 1-and-1.
Doetzler, first trip to the line tonight, 2 points, 1 for 4 from the field. The point guard for Dana Altman's Blue Jays, and he hits the free throw. And Josh Doetzler has not had the unfortunate injuries that he had in the past with this Creighton team as he hits the second end of that 1-and-1. Freshman season, suffered a season-ending knee injury and came back from that partially torn PCL and dislocated 2 fingers last season. Missed some games.
Yeah, he was maybe the youngest recruit ever to commit to Creighton, sophomore year. And before the knee injury, he was even quicker than he is now, and he certainly is still a quick point guard.
Grew up here in Omaha. Drive inside, Osiris Eldridge with the bucket. 9 points tonight.
Again,
All
you
in the
talk
second
about
half.
the freedom, and the freedom to do what you do best. And that you can see that the Redbirds are very good at looking at a match or a mismatch and then trying to take advantage of that.
A 14-point lead for the Illinois State University Redbirds. Head coach Dana Altman takes a timeout to talk things. Tonight's game reset is brought to you by Emerson. To learn more, visit emerson.com. Emerson, consider it solved. A 14-point lead for the Redbirds, Mac.
What I do like about the Blue Jays and what they've done, they've stuck to their game plan, stuck to their system, stuck to playing the 10, 11, 12 guys. They are still fresh. They have a chance, but they've got to make the run over the next 3 or 4 minutes. Like I say, to get it to a 2-possession game where Illinois State starts to feel some pressure.
The Allen Stinnett misses the shot, and Sied Odzik gets the rebound for the Redbirds. Osiris Eldridge.
Violation. Blue Jay basketball.
And a turnover as he carried the ball.
Blue Jays really have to come down and value the basketball and get a good look. And if they can, drive it to the basket. See if you can get an opportunity to get a foul. Looks like now Illinois State in that box and one. They got the one on Stinnett. Watch him go through, and he's being followed by Eldridge. Everybody else is in a diamond or a box.
And Booker Woodfox hits the 3. His first triple of the night. And that's the 5th from long range for Illinois State. That's the lead back to 11. Full court pressure defense by the Blue Jays. Boo Richardson running the point for the Redbirds. Hands off to Eldridge. 9 points in this second half.
Eldridge and Richardson have been tremendous at taking the crowd out of it, and they just did it again.
Crowd quiets down.
When there's been a little run, you've seen number 5 or number 0, there they are together, take the ball and drive it to the basket, get a layup or get fouled, and the crowd all of a sudden, whoosh, back in their easy seat.
Foul is called on Cavell Witter. Casey Harriman heads to the bench. for the Creighton Blue Jays. Dima Odiakoso is going to check back in to replace Levi Dyer. There's Osiris Eldridge. Mentioned earlier he thought about transferring when Tim Jankovic was named head coach. As he heads to the line and then decided to give Jankovic a chance. And one of the assistant coaches for Tim Jankovic, Paris Parham. And he was, as we see him there, right to the right of Jankovic on the bench. 2 down. Paris Parham was a high school coach for Osiris Eldridge. But Jankovic didn't hire Parham until Eldridge said he was staying. He didn't want him to think that that was something that he would do just to get him to stay. Had a great working relationship since, as Dane Watts goes for 3, rolls out. Shot is up, no good. Rebound, Anthony Slack.
So when you take out Dyer and you brought in Slack and Odiakosa, you brought in 2 rebounders, 2 athletes, versus Dyer, more of a perimeter and stand-still rebounder.
Timeout, a 12-point lead for the Illinois State University Redbirds as Anthony Slack leads his team with 7 rebounds.
We may have to go to the truck for the answer on this one. I forgot to bring that valuable Missouri Valley Conference press guide.
Look at the pass by Anthony Slack, but it's across the center line. It's going to be a turnover for the Redbirds. As we take a look at our answer to the Missouri Valley Conference trivia question, it's the Illinois State Redbirds in 97 and 98.
And with play like tonight, they're trying to return to the days of 97 and 98.
Allen Stinnett, the steal by Boo Richardson. Now Eldridge in the lane, and the foul is called as Eldridge goes to the hoop.
That is going to extend this lead again to 14 points, possibly 15. Poor ball handling at one end, a finish. I'll tell you, we have seen terrific play out of Dyer, out of Eldridge, out of Richardson, going on the road the first time with a new coach. And what a balanced attack they have coming at you. You talk about a balanced attack. Look at the league now. We talked Northern Iowa, they won. Drake is up by 6 with 3 minutes to go. Indiana State is up by 17 with 3.5 to go. All road teams are winning in the Valley. Parity, balance, going to be a terrific conference year.
Booker Woodfox misses the 3, and the rebound gone after by 2 Redbirds. Dima Odiakoso gets it, and a jump ball is called.
Again, we talk about balance and what this Illinois State team has. They've got 2 terrific rebounders, shot blockers, athletes on the inside to go with their perimeter game. Now discussion. Coach Jankovic asking for some help. He said, you know, I'm new here. I haven't been to the Quest Center. I just want to get out with a victory. How do we do this?
We talked about one of his assistants, Paris Parham. His other assistants, Anthony Bean, in his second stint at Illinois State, and then Rob Judson, former head coach at Northern Illinois, and they just had 2 wins against MAC schools.
Yeah. And Rob Judson, a former assistant at Illinois. So a lot of Illinois connection recruiting-wise. And, of course, their recruiting base, pretty much just call it I-55. Chicago down to St. Louis. Illinois State right in the middle.
And that influenced Jankovic's choices as assistant coach. And actually one of his assistants, Anthony Bean, that you see on the bench, played for Creighton head coach Dana Altman at Kansas State. And he was the 92 Big 8 Conference newcomer of the year.
Yeah, Doechler, very good free throw shooter. And here taking advantage of the shot, the clock being stopped. But Creighton is definitely going to have to figure a way to get some pressure and turnovers.
Dom Johnson coming back in for Illinois State.
So the 3 best ball handlers are in there right now. 0, 5, and 10. And you see the three of them will handle the ball through the middle of the pressure.
Here comes Eldridge. Dishes down low to Slack. Ball knocked away by Dane Watts. Fight for it on the floor. Jump ball called as Watts gets into it. And Eldridge is holding his teammate Anthony Slack back.
You see this press break. Terrific job by three perimeter players. A diagonal across, catch the ball, and then another diagonal pass to finish. And then the scramble afterwards. Right now, the jump ball and the possession. Arrow is going to go to Creighton. So as soon as the ball comes in, Illinois State will have it for the next jump ball possession. This could be a break Creighton take advantage of.
Dane Watts for three. Off the glass, and Anthony Slack is there for the rebound. For Anthony Slack, his team-leading 8th rebound tonight. Leads everyone in this game. Osiris Eldridge, baseline jumper.
Osiris Eldridge.
Again, a terrific read. Pressure by Creighton. And the player understands if they're going to take away my passing lane, that means a back door is open. He just went to the open space and a simple little float. A lot of confidence to take that shot.
He's got 14 points in the second half, 5 for 7 from the field in the second half as Doetzler misses the three. And the Redbirds get the ball back. So Eldridge, who only took one shot in the first half and missed it, has made 6 of 7 here in the second.
See, again, the guards do a lot of perimeter play and a bump by Watts. The ball is in the hands of the three perimeter players when the Redbirds come down court. The bigs are not going to touch it. They're not great free throw shooters. What they'll do is clean up the garbage if and when there's missed shots.
First trip to the line for Dom Johnson, who's hit 16 of 18 from the line so far this season. Rims out.
He and Richardson are terrific with ball handling skills. They're number 1 and 3 in the Valley when you look at assist to turnover ratio. You can get usually one player in the top 5, but you have 2. Number 1 and number 3. Very unusual.
Johnson leads this team coming into this game, playing 30.4 minutes per game. Second season at Illinois State after transferring from Three Rivers Community College.
And absolutely not a red shirt there. They were conceding the main or the miss. And this is part sometimes of new people, freshman mistakes, concentration, being over anxious. A little bit of all of it.
Lou Richardson. This season, 45 assists, only 9 turnovers coming into this game. Really controlled the basketball better as the point guard for Tim Jankovic's team. And now Creighton will inbound in front of their own bench. Nick Baugh inbounds to Cavell Witter.
And Illinois State by boxing one again. Stinnett drawing all the attention.
Baugh, does he lose it? Yes, he does. Goes out of bounds.
When Creighton looks back at this game film, they will look at how many unforced turnovers and pass catch turnovers they had. There have been a number of passes made poorly or the catch made poorly. Value in the basketball, but as we know, Dane Altman, one of the really terrific coaches, not just in the Valley, but the country. And you look at his record, in the last 10 years, he's finished first or second in the Valley 8 times. And the 2 times he didn't finish first or second, he won the tournament. And with the skill level he's got and the depth he's got, as things keep developing over the next 8 weeks, Arch Madness will be exciting for the Blue Jays.
With over 5,000 hotels to choose from, there's bound to be a Choice Hotel wherever you're headed. Book your stay by calling 877-240-2929 or visit choicesportstravel.com. We'll see you there. Boo Richardson getting the job done for the line, 16-point lead. for the Illinois State University Redbirds, 67-51. Allen Stinnett handles the basketball. Cavell Witter, who Dana Altman told us he recruited for his quickness, as the foul is going to be called on Dom Johnson, his third personal.
But still just 9 fouls, so it's 1 and 1. From now on, everybody's going to shoot 2.
Cavell Witter was the Missouri Valley Conference Newcomer of the Week on December the 3rd. Came into this game leading the team in three-point shooting, 42%, and from the line. 32 of his 34 shots from the line coming into this one, including his first 22 of the season. 4.5 minutes to play, and Dom Johnson hits the bucket inside.
So far, the formula doesn't make any difference. If it's 0, 5, or 10 with the ball, all 3 of them have gotten to the rim.
Allen Stinnett drains the 3. He's got 18 points to lead the Blue Jays tonight. 7 for 10 from the field as the Blue Jays take a 20-second timeout. 15-point lead for Illinois State. What do you think Dana Altman's talking about with his players right now, Matt?
I think some of it's teaching points. He's got to talk right now about, at the other end of the court, how can you let somebody drive all the way to the basket? Nobody picks them up. Nobody stops the ball. Nobody even makes the foul. You know, you've got to be able to stop somebody and stop the ball. Because if there's one thing you've seen all night long, it's Creighton is broken down off the dribble. And Illinois State has made plays either at the rim or going to the rim. I'd say at the Illinois State, right now they're saying, just take care of the ball. We'll run some clock every time down court. And as the clock runs down, we're going to go back to our favorite set play with that high post pick. And we'll drive it as hard as we can. See if we can get to the rim or get a foul.
Head coach Tim Jankovic trying to lead his team to a win in the Missouri Valley Conference opening game.
But yeah, how about opening night? 4 teams on the road. 4 teams either have won or are ahead. Dyer, foul.
I think that's why Dana Altman and Tim Jankovic both told us that they didn't know what to expect tonight. Everything's too new. That's why Dana Altman decided not to redshirt anybody this year. Didn't know what his needs would be with only 1 starter returning in Dane Watts.
And you don't know how a player will develop during the season or how they react to home crowds, visiting crowds. There is no question. Every conference around the country, and the Valley is right there among the best. When you get to conference play, things change. It gets faster, it gets tougher, it's more physical, and the officials, not going to say they call it different, but there will be a style of play in the league that the officials will have.
And Tim Jankovic had a lot of respect for Creighton coming into this one. He said to us that they're just shredding people. They'd have to play a perfect game to be close.
Well, the first half was about as perfect as you can get. I mean, 57%, 56 for threes, didn't miss a free throw, and they out-rebounded Creighton. First half was pretty special.
Richardson double team down to Johnson, kicks it outside to Levi Dyer for the long 2. No good.
You make him put it on the floor. You make him dribble it. Whoa.
Allen Stinnett.
And no foul called there. Cannot believe that. Dana Altman talking to the official.
Illinois State timeout as Allen Stinnett slams it home. He's got 20 points tonight.
Look at the angle he takes. Goes up. Dyer right there. Body. No foul. Stinnett. He goes down. Dyer goes down. And it's Illinois State that takes the timeout. Make sure his players stay focused. Forget the other activity.
Let's take a look at our players of the game, brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We see Levi Dyer with 20 points, 5 for 7 from long range. And we have Allen Stinnett, who we just saw slam it home for the Creighton Blue Jays.
And it was a slam. There's no question, Stinnett, a terrific athlete and finisher at the rim.
Stinnett is almost doubled his season scoring average with those 20 points. 31 points in the last 2 games for Allen Stinnett. His career high is 23. The freshman guard. 3.5 minutes to play.
Richardson, terrific ball handler, very quick. Now you see it's keep away. Until
Inside Slack, and one slam for another as Anthony Slack slams it home for the Redbirds.
If there's any fight left in the Blue Jay, it's got to be very quick. This possession with a quick turnover and another score. And right now, the Redbirds in control of this game.
Stinnett misses the 3. We got 4 Redbirds in double figures. Eldridge with 14, Slack with 10. 20 for Dyer, 10 for Odiakoso. As Creighton gets the board.
If I'm Dyer, I'm a little upset. I mean, I'm wide open in the corner, and I pass it out to Eldridge. Eldridge takes the 3-pointer, and Dyer's the guy who wouldn't have missed it.
71-57 lead. 8 minutes to play in the game. Tonight's play of the game is a presentation of Rawlings, the official athletic equipment of the Missouri Valley Conference. There's Anthony Slack slamming it home, and Redbirds head coach Tim Jankovich told us he just loves coaching Anthony Slack.
Without question, no slacker on that play, and no slacking on the entire team the entire evening. It's been pretty much a clinic performance by the Redbirds from the opening tip. They have responded to every Creighton run, to the Creighton change-up defenses, to the special effort of Stinnett, and the crowd, which, as everybody knows, 17,000 strong in Omaha.
4 players in double figures for the Redbirds. One of them, Anthony Slack, 4 for 7 from the field tonight. Also leads his team with 9 rebounds. A 32-25 rebounding advantage for the Redbirds right now. 53% is what Illinois State has shot in this game. Foul called on Booker Woodfox, his first personal. And I know we were talking about the stats earlier. Mackey said when you have a new coaching staff, you throw out some of those old stats.
You really do. I mean, you look at Illinois State and you can say they haven't won such and such, or they haven't had back-to-back whatever. You know, when you get a new staff and you get new players, you don't care about the history of the negative. What you're trying to do is take the tradition and build on it and take the positives. And that's what this coaching staff and these players have done, and they've done it in a dramatic fashion in this NBC opener. And if it's any indication, I mean any indication, because you got a final now at Wichita. Drake 65, Wichita 54. And you've got Indiana State going to Evansville and winning. And we said Northern Iowa beat Bradley. You're going to have 4 road teams winning on opening night.
And we welcome our viewers from the Indiana-Detroit game here at the Quest Center in Omaha, Nebraska. Jeff Friedman alongside Mac McCausland with 2 minutes, 27 seconds to play in the game. It's 71-58, Illinois State Redbirds.
And for viewers just tuning in, it is a surprise if you would look at what you thought 2 hours ago. A new coach right there, Tim Jankovich, with a new staff, several new players going on the road for the first time, a talented group, especially at the perimeter area with some veterans. But coming into the Quest Center against Dana Altman. And Dana, outstanding coach for a number of years in the Valley. Wins the regular season, wins the Valley Championship, NCAA tournament, goes to it. And he has a little work to be done, as he has 5 new faces getting plenty of playing time and 7 in the rotation.
The Allen Stinnett hits the bucket. He's got 22 points now in this game.
Stinnett's been outstanding for the Blue Jays. When you look back and say, what were the good points? The offensive Stinnett is what sticks out at you without any question. It's the balance of Illinois State and the maturity of some of these players at Illinois State. They've really developed under a new coach in a short period of time, feeling very good about their style of play. In the first half, Dyer, number 32, put on an outstanding shooting performance that really gave Illinois State great confidence As you look at Tim Jankovic, last year he was at Kansas under Bill Self.
And he told us there were several criteria that he had to fulfill to take this head coaching position. Didn't want to just move into the head coaching role. He has trust in the president and athletic director at Illinois State. The recruiting base you mentioned, Mac, on I-55, the crowd involvement in the whole home court facilities. Desirable community, just some of those criteria.
And a terrific conference to be in. It's a basketball conference, rated number 7 in the RPI right now.
14-point lead for Illinois State. That was their halftime lead.
Things just not going well for the Blue Jays. But things are going well for the Redbirds. As we said, a new bird in the valley. Other people are going to have to take note.
Second personal on Nick Baugh.
Boo Richardson at the line shooting 2.
Already said the Valley's sustained one difficult injury for a team. Bradley, Daniel Ruffin, the terrific point guard, out with a hernia operation. Not sure how long, but it'll be several weeks.
As Boo Richardson goes to the line, hits the free throw. Give him 10 points tonight.
I'll tell you, Mike Kern and Jack Watkins in the Valley are going to have to look back to see the last time that 4 road teams have won on opening night.
Booker Woodfox hits the 3. (76-63) Illinois State University Redbirds as we take a look at the scores around the Valley, Mac.
The home team is on the bottom, and the little triangle for the winner is on the top. Drake may be the biggest surprise, but right with him, Illinois State. But Illinois State have more veterans. They have more players back with a lot more minutes than Drake did. But Drake going to Wichita State. Of course, new coach there both ways. Keno Davis, Coach Marshall for Wichita State. 5 new coaches in the Valley, so game preps are different. Style of play is different. And then maybe the player you recruit, the type of player, will be different in the Valley. But you still have Chris Lowry at Southern Illinois and Dana Altman at Creighton, who have been the perennial 1 and 2s.
And Missouri State and Southern Illinois face off tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. That's our next telecast on the MVC game of the week.
And you do go look at that Northern Iowa game. Actually, that was a game of no point guards, as Kajo Ahalegba for UNI, he went out with an injury before the season started. And as we said, Ruffin just going out with his injury. So both of those teams not having their number 1 point guard. And everybody knows you've got to have guard play. And in this league, point guards are as critical as any place.
We talked about throwing out the stats with a new coach, and one of the things that Tim Jankovic mentioned to us is when he saw the stat coming into that last road trip against Bowling Green and Ball State, that the Redbirds had lost 29 of its previous 32 games on the road. That includes 3 this season against Indiana, Kent State, and Eastern Michigan. That stat out the window now.
Yeah, see, things like that, like we talked to, that was somebody else that did that, not this group. It was like they hadn't won in front of like 7,000 people or more since, dirt was invented. Well, that one's gone. It's this group at Illinois State's going to take care of a lot of those negatives that they've seen for the last 5 or 6 years.
Stand on site to the line shooting 2.
I'll tell you, when they get that home crowd sold out over at Redbird Arena, that is a tough home crowd too.
See, Ed Odzik hits the free throw. We mentioned his first game here for Illinois State after transferring. He's gotten a lot of good words from his teammates. Boo Richardson and Dom Johnson both complimenting the play of Ed Odzik in practice.
Well, Dana Altman told us at halftime and in our interview, he thought his team was stuck in the mud. And I thought that was pretty appropriate description. And it's really continued, except for just a couple spurts, one right after halftime. But then they settled right back into that kind of observing the game rather than take control and charge into the game.
Osiris Eldridge at the line, shooting 2 for Illinois State.
But to the credit of this team, see Rob Judson, the assistant coach, see the head coach, Tim Jankovic, they withstood everything thrown at them by the Blue Jays.
Osiris Eldridge to the line. 14 points in this game, all in the second half. The closest it's been in this half was a 7-point lead for Illinois State, and they led 48-41.
And Eldridge, as we talked last year, had 28 points in this arena. So he wouldn't mind coming back here a few more times, I don't think.
Kenny Lawson Jr. Eldridge in last year's games against Creighton, 28 points here, 16 points in normal for the home game that Illinois State won. That game last year here was a 78-71 win for the Blue Jays. Now we're looking at a 15-point lead for the Redbirds with 22 seconds to play.
They can just hold the ball and then just give it up, turn it around with 8 seconds to go.
Osiris Eldridge for 3. Off the side of the rim. Rebound by Booker Woodfox. No shot clock. Game clock at 5. Inside, Kenny Lawson Jr. slams it in. 13-point lead for Illinois State as they're going to hold the ball with a couple seconds to play, and Tim Jankovic shakes the hand of Dana Altman in his first season as the Missouri Valley Conference. A 13-point lead, a 13-point win for Illinois State. Their first back-to-back-to-back wins on the road since 82-83. My partner, Mac McCausland, and our entire crew, so long from Omaha, Nebraska, where Tim Jankovic and the Redbirds win it at the Quest Center.